Brought to you by
Palm Marina Estates, Garuga, where luxury meets lifestyle by the water.
Welcome back to Property 360. If you're looking to grow your portfolio, you will eventually face a major decision. Do you go with residential homes and suburban apartments that feel safe and keep steady rent rolling in? Or do you take the leap into commercial real estate, where the corporate leases are long and the yields look massive on paper? It's the classic debate, stability versus serious cash flow. Today on Investing Insight, we are stripping away the prestige and looking at the raw numbers. Residential versus commercial real estate. Which one actually makes more financial sense for your pocket? Let's talk to the expert. We are joined today by a real estate expert who has seen both sides of the real estate market over years. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you, Wilbur.
Let's dive straight into it. We see that many people start out in residential real estate because it's what is familiar, it's what we know. We ask, can I live here? Now, how do you change that mindset to move away from kitchen fittings and tiles to now come into commercial where it's earning per square meter of lettable space?
Yes, Wilbur, thank you very much for that question. I think for me, whether someone wants to invest in residential or commercial, the underlying thing is to understand what return are you getting. And we've seen publications made by companies, by reputable people in this market, that commercial property tends to perform better than residential, whether in Kololo or outside Kololo, or Nakasero or Chira or Nigeria. So I think to start understanding the shift that people need to go through is to, one, look at what return do you want as an investor? What risk do you want as an investor? And what's your capital structure?
Thank you, Moses. On the question of return, we see it on paper so many times that commercial gives 8, 10, even 12%. But when you cut in back to the costs, the taxes, the fit out, the cost of constructing commercial, which is quite high, is it really true that commercial is that juicy in terms of return, or it's just a paper put out there?
When you're doing a commercial development for rental, it all comes down to how you organize your tenancy agreements, or the leases. So you find that in commercial, almost 80% of the operating expenses on a property are recoverable from a tenant, which is not the same with residential, because you've heard of terms like service charge in a commercial property. Yes. So that is a fund that tenants pay on top of the rent to make sure the operating expenses, security, cleaning, property management fees, insurance are recoverable. Yeah, which you don't get in residential. So it means your net operating income for commercial property tends to be high. And remember, investors tend to buy a property that yields the best in terms of net operating income. So for me, yes, what you've seen in the market and what's been reported over the years to the effect that commercial properties tend to perform better, that's correct.
Moses, now let's talk about the vacancy risk. In a residential property, if I get a vacancy 2 weeks or a month, I already have a new tenant in. We see that vacancies for commercial buildings take longer. How much should an investor put aside to cushion against such long vacancy periods for commercial properties?
Increasingly, when you look at the profile of a commercial property investment, the risk is managed to the extent that people tend to sign long-term agreements. And even when they sign those agreements, they'll give you notice to terminate. So
which is usually 6 months, 2 to 6 months, or even a year.
In fact, for commercial properties, the ones that are structured very well, when you sign a 5-year agreement, it's 5 years. You can't terminate it. You can't. So effectively, if I have a building which has 10 tenants and all of them are signed for 5-year agreements, I'm sure for the next 5 years,
you've locked in.
So if they terminate and there's no provision for an exit clause, prematurely, then they're going to pay you for the remaining period of the lease. So that's what makes commercial property more attractive. Residential, because the tenancies are short, and then it is a home. There's so much you can do with offices. They can lock you up. They can take you to court. There are all ways you can quickly try to re-enter premises, and which residential becomes very difficult. Yeah. So for investors who are sophisticated, that's why you see eventually end up in commercial property, because you know the risks are easily managed.
At the end of the day, residential keeps your baseline secure, while commercial builds long-term balance sheets. But the best portfolio isn't just about chasing the highest percentage. It's about having assets that let you sleep soundly at night. Don't go anywhere. Right after this commercial break, we are stepping into our final segment to show you what's hitting the market this week. Property 360 continues in just 2 minutes.